hello, welcome! I hope you're doing fabulous today. In this video, I will be making a tiny little clay wizard frog. I don't really know what possessed me to make this. I sat down one day and I was like, you know what? I want to make something out of clay. Now, I should probably preface this by saying I'm normally a 2D artist. I am most in my elements whenever I am just drawing on a piece of paper with like a pen. So clay is pretty out of my elements. I don't make 3D art very often, but I don't know, something just really made me want to make a cute little wizard frog for some reason. I got this giant package of air dry clay from Amazon because I don't really have anywhere near me that I can find a kiln, at least that I know of. And I remember when I was young, my brother made this clay snake and he put it into the oven because it was like an oven bake clay, and it completely fell apart and split in half. And I think that traumatized me as a small little artist. So I'm like, let's stick to the air dry clay, shall we? So yeah, I got this package of clay. And I just started pulling some of it out, trying to figure out how much of it I needed to create this little frog. Pretty early on in the process, I was like, wait a minute! This is gonna be a very messy project, and I would prefer to not have a bunch of clay stuck in my wedding ring. So I removed my rings, then I got back to creating. Now, when I was younger, I've taken a couple of clay classes in like high school. I think I took one 3D art class in college, but yeah, I really don't have a ton of experience with this stuff. I mostly just do this every now and then for fun. So I was really curious to see how this was going to end up. But I basically started by separating the clay and rolling them into little balls. Just kind of trying to get rid of a bunch of the air inside of it and make sure it was all nice and smooth. And then from there, once I had a little clay ball that was roughly the size I think I wanted the frog to be, nice and small, something real cute and tiny, I pinched it into shape, just slowly and carefully kind of kneading it and trying to figure out what on earth I was doing with it and getting it to look at least vaguely frog-shaped. And then I attached the little head to it. So I grabbed another section of clay, made it all nice and smooth and everything, and then slapped it right on there. Now, I remember from my clay classes back in my schooling years that whenever you're attaching two pieces of clay together, you're supposed to, like, score it. So I took one of these little tools that I also got from Amazon and started like making little marks on both the head and the body. I put some water on it and slapped it on there and hoped for the best. And then once I added the head to it and, made sure it was solidly attached and all of that, I did the same thing with the eyeballs. I got a couple more little tiny round balls for the eyes and scored those as well, and then attached them to the head. Now, it's kind of vaguely friend-shaped now, kind of coming together like a little frog blob. I made a couple little coils and slapped on some more clay to shape it a bit more. Yeah, so I just kept slapping a bunch of clay on top of it, trying to somehow morph this into something vaguely frog-looking. I don't know. I was running off pure instinct at this point. And I added a little booty to it. I don't know why, it just felt right. You know, kind of like how Gudetama has a little booty. I was like, you know what? This frog also needs a booty. And I guess you could say it's a cheeky frog.
He's thick, boy!
After I made the booty, I started attaching the little leggies. Now, I was not worried about anatomy in the slightest with this, because, frankly, I was already pretty out of my element, just with using clay. So I was like, listen. I don't know how frogs do.
A froggy be a small beastie with 4 legs.
So I'm just gonna make like a simplified version of a frog. So yeah, I didn't exactly put feet on them. It's literally just a tube for each of the legs. But that was good enough for me at this point, honestly. I'm just happy to be here. So after I attached the front legs, I went and made the little back legs. These ones kind of curl underneath it, and it's kind of like the frog is loafing, much like a cat. You know what I mean? I love it when frogs loaf. It's so cute, and it makes me happy every time I see a frog loafing. So that's pretty much the pose I was going for here. After I attached the legs, I used the tool to define them a little bit more, make sure they were on there properly, but still obviously separate from the body. And then I started the face. And then I erased the face. Like, I put all these little carvings into the face and decided, nope, delete your art, never mind, this is not working. So I flattened up the face a little bit more, and then I did the face again. Now, after all of this was done, I finally started the little wizard hat! I love this part. Just a little wizard hat for frogs, I love it. Whenever I see pictures of frogs with hats on, something about it just sparks the serotonin in my one brain cell. So good. After I shaped the hat and, made it all wonky like a wizard hat is, I scored it and attached it securely to the head. Now, just having a little wizard hat was not enough. No. I wanted a bunch of tiny mushrooms on it as well. So I got some more clay and divided it into a bunch of tiny little pieces and shaped them into just the tiniest little mushrooms. Oh, so cute. I made a tiny hole in the mushroom cap for the little stem. I don't know if these are the proper terms for mushrooms, but that's what I'm rolling with. After I've crafted the little mushroom, I just tried to attach it securely. Emphasis on the trying. But yeah, I tried to attach them securely, and I did this several times, so there's a bunch of little mushrooms all over this little hat, and tried to make it look like the mushrooms were actually growing out of the hat, so I had to smooth the stems into the hat, essentially. And then I got some water on my finger and smoothed out the entire thing, trying to get rid of any little bumps and imperfections. And then the sculpting was done. So, okay, here's the thing. This tiny project here took me several months, and I will explain why. See, initially, I thought I would just need to wait a few days to let this dry, and then I would paint it. So I put it in a little Ziploc bag with a couple holes in it because I heard that air dry clay can sometimes crack if it dries too quickly. So apparently one way to remedy this is by putting it in a Ziploc bag with some holes, and that way it dries a little bit more slowly. So then came the time to paint this frog. But then I realized, wait a minute, I don't have any white paint. Yeah, that's a little bit necessary for painting. White is like a very important color to have. So I looked around at local stores near me, and I could not find normal white acrylic paint anywhere. And I don't know if I'm just not looking in the right places, or if it's because I'm not fluent in Japanese, so I don't know, maybe I was reading the labels wrong or something, but I could not find just normal acrylic paint anywhere nearby, and I'm like, hello? I thought that acrylic paint would be one of the easiest things to find in craft sections, but apparently not where I am. there might have been some white paint in the mall that's like an hour away, but even then, I wasn't really sure. So I went on Amazon and I ordered some white paint, and then lo and behold, my package got lost in the mail. And so I had to order it a second time. So I got this paint like months later, like 2 months later. And this frog has just been chilling on my desk for months. Like, hello, are you going to finish me? Like, I'm waiting. I've been waiting. Hello, are you going to paint me ever? And I'm like, I promise, I'm trying. I just need paint, man. But yes, finally, I acquired some white acrylic paints. So yeah, I did a base coating of paint in black. The reason I chose black is because I saw this trick for painting miniatures, I believe, where if you coat the thing entirely in black, it adds some depth to it if you paint over it and don't completely cover all of the cracks. Like, as you continue to paint the miniature, if you leave the black in the very cracks of the piece, it almost kind of adds this outline effect to it. So that's what I was trying to do. I don't know if I succeeded very well, but I mostly just needed a base color to work with, to be like soaked into the clay. And then after the frog was nice and sufficiently painted black in its emo goth phase, I mixed up the paint for a nice green color with a green, a yellow, and a white. And then I just get to work at painting the little frog green. Now, a lot of the paint I was using for this are these tiny little acrylic tubes. I'm not exactly sure how old they are, so some of them were kind of like starting to dry out, it seemed. But I was like, listen, these are tiny tubes. I can deal with it. I can deal with it. This paint is almost out. So it's fine. Everything's fine. At some point, when I was painting this frog green, one of the mushrooms broke off in my hand as I was painting it. Yeah, rage. The pure baby rage I experienced when this thing broke off. It was real. It was real. But thankfully, I had some super glue on hand. So I just super glued that bad boy together and it was good as new. People don't have to know. Who's gonna know? No one's gonna know. This is our little secret now. So yeah, after covering our crimes there with the mushroom breaking off, I finished up doing a couple layers of the green paint, let it dry, and, continuing to rage about the hole I left in the black paint from the mushroom ripping off. Then I mixed a darker green paint to dabble on in a gradient. I felt like just having the light shade of green was a little bit flat looking, so I kind of wanted to add a bit of depth to it. So I started putting the dark green all over the bottom of the frog, and then trying to make a gradient and have it go lighter as it goes up. But then I felt like it looked a little strange like that, actually. So I started mixing the light and the dark greens together to make a better gradient. Kind of dabbled the darker green a little bit everywhere, honestly, but I do like the effect it made in the end. I think it turned out pretty okay, actually. So I kind of just go back and forth with the colors to try and get a nice balance on it. So then I mixed a blue, a red, and a white to get the purple color for the hat. So I slapped all the purple on there, just covering everything with it. Finally, it's starting to look a little bit better now that it's not just the plain black. And we can cover the tiny hole that was left by the super glue, yes. And then, once I am done covering the entire thing with the light purple, I mixed a darker purple for hat shadows and depth, and I was basically trying to do the same thing I did with the frog and the greens, where I just dapple a bunch of the darker purple in for like shadows and just adding a bit of like texture to it, I guess, so it's not quite as flat. And I think it really helped out a lot. I especially put the darker purple around the mushrooms where I thought some shadows would lie. And then, of course, I tried to put the darker purple on the underside of the hat as well. I went back with a tiny little brush and put some black back into the cracks of the face. So I basically was putting like an outline back into the eyes and on the mouth as well. Just trying to put that back on there because it kind of got covered up a bit. And then it was finally time to put the whites on the eyes. It took multiple layers of white to actually cover the black, which makes sense. I mean, you're trying to cover black with white. It doesn't work all that well the first try. So I just go back and forth with several layers on each eye, and eventually we get it to a good place. Then I go ahead and focus on painting the mushrooms red. It's a pretty bright red. I don't even know if I mixed anything with it, honestly. I think I just took the red straight from the tube. So yeah, all of the mushrooms are red. I just went around, covered them, and then I switched back to the white and painted the little stems and the undersides of the mushrooms. And now, finally the time has come for me to actually paint the eyeballs. I got a simple black with my tiny paintbrush and painted the pupils on the little frog friend. And oh my goodness, the expression on this frog's face. He looks so traumatized. Like, this frog has definitely seen some things in its time. But I feel like it gives it character. It gives it a personality, and I low-key love it for that. But yes, after letting that dry for a few days, I covered it with another clear coating for protection because I would like for this to potentially be put outside with my plants. I think that would be so cute. And here it is. Here is the finished product. What do you guys think? It was an experience. I actually am not mad about it. Like, it's not perfect by any means, but considering I don't really ever make things with clay, and I'm a 2D artist, I'm actually pretty content with it. So here's a little treat for you guys for making it this far in the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, do consider leaving a subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I do hope to post more consistently in the future if, life allows for it. I would really like to do that. But yeah, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a lovely day. Until next time, bye!